Hello and welcome everyone, my name's Capcan and today we're gonna be looking at Impending Doom, Doom Blast, Pathfinder build guide for patch 3.22 Trial of the Ancestors League, this is pretty good, powerful build that works with poisons that you're applying many different curses on enemies, then you're blasting enemies, you're poisoning them, dealing damage this way, and then you're good. The damage of the build is quite high, the defenses of the build are pretty good as well, with many ways to restore your life, with many ways to sustain yourself. As a Pathfinder, we do have a bunch of different ways to decrease damage taking, convert damage to elemental damage, then decrease that damage taking by constantly having all the different elemental flasks up and stuff. And yeah, by itself, Doom Blast or Impending Doom is a very, very reliable skill that is known to the community, and there is already a big history of this skill proving to be powerful and reliable. Okay, so I guess we can start and go to the POB of the guide. With probably, if there is some more gameplay, I may put it towards the end of the video, but now let's go and let's check the thing out. So we do have what we're gonna start from talent tree, then with skills and items. This build in particular uses a Shaco, uses Forbidden Shaco as its helmet, with level 30 Impending Doom and the other modifier not being relevant at all. So yeah, we're gonna be on a pseudo 5 link in here, but don't worry, we still do have something close to 30 million DPS, enormous recovery and stuff. Okay, so let's go and check what we're taking here. So we're going for, of course, chaos damage over time multiplier. We're going for mana reservation efficiency and aura effect. We are taking as much poison as much poison nodes as possible. We are going for a little bit of flask charge generation, flask applied to you with increased effect and stuff, because it is very, very crucial for you on Pathfinder to have enough of your flask charge generation and stuff for them to always be constantly up. Then we are going for spell suppression, more life, more spell suppression, some jewel nodes. Life recoup, we are utilizing this recovery mechanic in particular pretty heavily. We are going for Leaf Shade, then again more damage over time multiplier, chaos damage over time multiplier, chaos damage in general. We are taking Whispers of Doom as we need exactly 3 maximum curses being able to apply on enemies. And then, yeah, after that, it's just more of the same, more poison, more mana reservation efficiency. With our cluster jewel, we're of course taking chaos damage, more chaos damage. Chaos spells have chance to hinder, which is definitely a good thing as well. And enemies hindered by you have increased chaos damage taken. We are taking some curses as well that give us chance to hinder enemies on hit with spells. Then our medium cluster jewels are gonna be for flask effect duration or chaos damage over time. Both are good and both are potent. Here we do have flask charges gained again even more. Spell skills have +2 damage over time multiplier for poison and stuff. So poison chance, poison damage over time multiplier. Then spiked concoction with gain alchemist genius when you use a flask, and otherwise just in general other flask things, flask charges gained. It is a very, very important modifier on your Pathfinder, as we're going for all the different flasks that give us damage reductions and stuff. Yeah, and we are going for Eldritch Battery. So whenever our curses trigger, they will use not mana, they will use energy shield instead, and we do have pretty big amounts of mana cost reduction for our Doom Blast, for our general temporal chains as well. Otherwise, this is generally it. Now when it comes to the jewels, As you can see here, we're using Warrior's Tale, so increased effect of tattoos here. So it's a chance to spell suppress, some flat region, yeah, mostly things like this. Then in here we do have immutable force, increased stun and block recovery. So we don't really have a big number of life, and we do have this enormous. So yeah, I need to elaborate on this more. So immutable force works well with another jewel. Here it is, Blood Notch. Oh no. Yeah, so Blood Notch with immutable force. It's gonna go like this. Your stun, if you have pretty low total life and you are getting hard stunned, you will get very high stun recovery. So you will never even feel those stuns coming to you. And then each of that stunned hit will be 50% of damage taken from stunning hits are recovered as life. So you will recover 50% of that damage. Yeah, basically this is the way for you to practically decrease to 50% damage taking from all sources just by this way, with this stun recovery and stuff, and you won't be really stunned even though you are receiving stuns. It's quite a popular combination of jewels, so it's nothing special in here. Many builds utilizing it. Here's our Blood Notch. You don't really need any talents or attribute requirements for it to work properly. And then here in our medium cluster jewels, we do use the Balance of Terror, so increased cooldown recovery rate if you've cast Temporal Chains in the past 10 seconds, which we will do. You are unaffected by shock if you've cast Conductivity in the past. Yeah, but that's not the thing here. The main point for us to have increased cooldown recovery rate if you've cast Temporal Chains, and this way we do reduce cooldown on our Vixen's entrapment on our unique gloves, and this way everything will proc just right and everything will work with this build as it is intended. And then Watcher's Eye with you have phasing while affected by haste, percentage of physical damage from hits taking as cold damage while affected by purity of elements. This is very important. We don't have armor, which means that physical damage taking that we're gonna take from enemies is gonna be pretty high, but we do have many different ways of converting that physical damage to different elemental damage, and elemental damage is covered by our resistances, by our less damage taking, by all the other mechanics that Pathfinder has ability to utilize in terms of decreasing your phys damage taken, which this mod here we are using Purity of Elements, and this is the mod that we want to have because it is very powerful defensive wise. Otherwise we are using Clarity level 1, even though we don't really care about the mana regeneration itself. It doesn't really reserve too much mana on level 1, but we have non-channeling skills have -5 to total mana cost from it, and that's very good for us. So this is our Watcher's Eye, yeah, Balance of Terror, and that's mostly it when it comes to the talent tree. The talent tree itself is pretty simple, no crazy shit going on here. Then we do have our, of course, Ascendancy class, so Nature's Reprisal, effect of Wither, chance to inflict Wither and hate, very powerful, very good for us, all chaos builds wanted. Master Toxicist, when you kill a poisoned enemies, nearby enemies are poisoned, and you have a chance to deal more damage with poisons, which is pretty good for us. Flasks gain 3 charges every 3 seconds is crucial. That's why we are taking increased flask generation and stuff, because we do want to have 100% uptime on our flasks all the time. And Master Surgeon after that. Life flasks effects are not removed when unreserved life is filled. They do not queue, and we do have less recovery. But this is basically, yeah, your life flasks are going to be constantly up on you, and it is an additional way for you to safely have recovery all time, yeah, all the time. Okay, so yeah, this is it with our talent tree. Now let's go for the skills. So as I've already said, we do have our Forbidden Shaco, as helmet with Impending Doom on it. Our cast while damage taking on here will not work, and it's not a problem because yes, our temporal chains are gonna be way higher level wise, which means that cast while damage taken will not proc, and we do not need it to proc. We will use it manually. It's our main skill anyways. With Divergent Quality here, having additional cast speed. So yeah, we are using temporal chains as our main skill. You are gonna use temporal chains. It has spell cascade, so it will have this enormous AoE, 3 AoE circles. You are gonna apply your temp chains first on your enemies with all the unbound ailments, void manipulation combined with Impending Doom from the Forbidden Shaco, and now we need to get rid of our temporal chains as fast as possible. And how are we gonna do that? Because yeah, in order for your Impending Doom to work, you need your curse to run out basically as fast as possible. And here our Vixen's entrapments, Vixen's entrapment, I'm sorry. So we do, this is the item that is essential for this build to work. Trigger socketed curse spells when you cast a curse spell with a 0.25 second cooldown. So this is basically why we are working towards having as much cooldown recovery rate as possible. And this is by having 3 curses in our Vixens, we are gonna overload the quantity of curses, of basically our curse cap on enemies, because we do have curse cap as 3, and we already have 1 curse on enemies. We do have 3 in Vixens, which means that whenever these 3 are applied, the first one, which is Temporal Chains, expires, and then it blasts. And when it blasts, everything is poisoned and everything dies. Now otherwise, spell damage leashed as energy shield. Oh yeah, okay. You can apply an additional curse, which makes our cap to be a 3 exactly, and curse skills have increased cast speed. So these two, this combination of Impending Doom with Vixens is just, you have to have it. This is how the build works. And this is socketed in our gloves. So Punishment, Despair, and Enfeeble with Spell Cascade. So it will spread these three, basically, yeah. You are applying your temporal chains on big packs of with spell cascaded 3 AoE circles with your temp chains, and then you need 3 big AoE circles with spell cascade of your other curses for your temporal chains to get rid of your temporal chains from those enemies that are gonna be under these curses. And then then they will get very big burst of damage on top of them, and that's a poison damage which works for some time. So you're applying Despair and Punishment, which will increase their damage taking by it will reduce their chaos res and it will increase their damage taking. And because of its poison, you will apply these curses, then Temp Chains breaks and blasts them, and your poisons, which are both defensive and offensive, will still work on those enemies while they are slowly dying from poisons. So it's very effective, it's very obvious how it works, even though the mechanic itself may be a little bit confusing if you don't know how it works, but I hope that I've described it pretty well. Okay, so yeah, these two are our main mechanic going on. After that, we are going for, so in our boots we do have Shield Charge, Enhance for Temp Rift, and Withering Step. Withering Step is anomalous quality which inflicts additional wither debuffs the first time enemy enters the area, which makes this with Enhance, with additional quality from Enhance, it's level 3, it's enough. You will have inflict 9 wither debuffs for the first time each enemy enters the area, which is very, very powerful. And otherwise, yeah, this is just a good buff. It grants you phasing, grants you elusive and stuff. A Temporal Rift. It is important here to have an alternative anomalous quality as well, as this quality gives us buff grants 5% increased cooldown recovery rate. and some reduced reservation efficiency, but we don't really care about this. So Temporal Rift will reserve 10% of your mana. With all the reservation efficiency things going on, it's gonna be less, but it's still gonna reserve some mana. The important part here, again, combined with Enhance, is going to be buff grants 9% increased cooldown recovery rate. And this will work on your Vixen's inherent cooldown. And yeah, this is why basically we are using this Temporal Rift, not for the Temporal Rift active itself, not for buff makes you unaffected by temporal chains, because we are immune to all curses with our shield. But if you don't have a shield that we do have here at Xeris Mirror, then that means that this buff will grant you unaffected by temporal chains as well, which is just a nice cherry on top. Now with our auras, with our active aura, it's going to be Malevolence with increased duration and Divine Blessing. So this thing you will just use it from time to time to get an additional buff that gives you more damage. This is our gloves. This is our body armor, so our mana reservation things. Purity of Ailments give us immune to elemental ailments and eases our elemental resistance. Just in general, it gives us a bunch of plus to all LRS, and we do have that juicy modifier on Watcher's Eye. Then level 1 Clarity again for Watcher's Eye, Haste here for increased haste in general, and Lighten level 3 is enough here for you to have enough mana. A Blood Rage will apply on us physical damage over time. It will regenerate our frenzy charges whenever we're killing enemies and stuff, but the main point here is to gain this physical damage over time debuff on us, and then Leath Shade will work on you. So Leath Shade works like this: take 50% less damage over time if you've started taking damage over time in the past second, and Blood Rage will work on us, and otherwise more duration of ailments on you, but we are immune to most of the ailments and stuff, so it's not gonna be a problem. So this is again Blood Rage on us, and Herald of Agony, Divergent one. Divergent quality gives you additional chance to poison on hit from the buff, and Herald of Agony just in general is going to be very important for us to chance to poison, damage with poison. We do have a ring that increases its power. Otherwise, we are going for some Immortal Call with cast when damage taking. So yeah, this way we're gonna take less damage whenever we're gonna get hit quite hard, and Flame Dash. That's it. Now when it comes to our items. So with items as your main weapon, you just want a big damage over time multiplier, chaos damage, cast speed, and chaos scales have increased skilled effect duration as well, but mostly in general just chaos damage, cast speed, and damage over time multiplier. Then our shield is at 0 reflection. It has hex reflection, unaffected by curses, increased effect of our curses, some resistance, some evasion rating, and energy shield, but we mostly utilize energy shield from here a little bit. Otherwise, Forbidden Shaker with some increased mana reservation efficiency for Arctic armor. Yeah, that's not really as important here, but yeah, Forbidden Shaker, this one itself with Impending Doom, is the thing that we are looking for. Then our body armor is Lightning Coil. Lightning Coil gives us, it is again for Pathfinders in general, it is one of the most crucial items that you can get. 50% of physical damage from hits taken as lightning damage. 50% is enormous amount, and this will make us most of 50% with other modifiers is going to be most of fizz damage taken is going to be converted to either lightning or other elemental damage, and then it will get decreased by resistances, by all the less damage taken modifiers and stuff. Otherwise we're not really, some maximum life, minus 60 to lightning resistance. You will have to somehow get more lightning res in order to compensate for that, but otherwise this is why we're taking this. Vixen's Entrapment we've already saw. Then our boots give us again increased cooldown recovery rate, which we generally want as much as possible. Movement speed, chance to spell suppression, in order for us to have either cap or something close to cap at least. Then Chaos Res, some resistances and maximum life. So boots are the most common piece, gear piece in here. With Amulet, it's the eternal struggle with it allocates Skittering runes as our anointment, and you can apply. This is the Amulet. You can apply your Eldritch currency onto. We do have here a Syrian Exarch dominance, so kill enemies that have 15% or lower life on hit. But yeah, basically you call enemies on 15 or lower life. Because our Syrian Exarch here is dominant. Otherwise, we do have some increased life regeneration rate and chaos damage over time multiplier as those modifiers from Eldritch currency itself. With our rings, it's Circle of Nostalgia here that gives us increased chaos damage while affected by Herald of Agony and increased mana reservation efficiency of Herald of Agony. Yeah, this is why you want to get this thing here. Some flat damage attributes, Chaos Res, maybe something that you can get as synthesized mods, anything that suits your current character. Then we are looking here for Eyelight Ring, or basically in general any ring. This one will just give you some additional chaos damage. We do have here attributes, Energy Shield, chaos damage, maximum life, and -7 to total mana cost of non-channeling skills as well. Would be more than nice. Stygian Vice as our belt, with maximum life, as much flask effect duration and other stuff, a flask just in general flask modifiers. Increased flask life recovery rate is quite important for us too, because our life flask can heal us whenever, even with unreserved life being at cap. So it's powerful for you to look up for things that increase your flasks in general on Pathfinder. Increased cooldown recovery rate is very powerful here as well. You need to look out for this modifier, and regenerate some flat energy shield is gonna help you on bosses too when you're gonna spam your skills way more. The Abyssal Jewel here by itself just gives us some flat damage. Fizz or Chaos works both works well for poisons, some maximum life and increased damage over time. Yeah, it's just very general here. Otherwise, now our flasks. So Divine Flask, you want here increased amount recovered. Recovery rate is not as important and as interesting for us here. We do need as much amount recovered. It grants immunity to bleeding while used. If bleeding, it grants immunity to corrupted blood. So yeah, basically, if you don't have any jewels that give you immunity to corrupted blood, then you 100% need this. Otherwise, bleeding may be a problem for you, as well as as physical damage is problematic for us, and bleeding will not get converted by all the damage from hits taking converted to lightning and stuff. So you need your immunity to bleeding in this being applied to you somehow. But Divine Life Flask still with increased amount recovered is very, very powerful. Then Taste of Hate, which is a Sapphire Flask, and it's one part of this flask that is important for us. As you can see here, we are using both Ruby, Topaz, and Sapphire flasks, which will give us constant resistances to all and less elemental damage taking. They are gonna be applied to us constantly. This is why it's such a powerful combination on Pathfinder in general. But Taste of Hate has 15% of physical damage from hits taken as cold damage during effect, which is yet again even bigger physical damage savior for us. And that's why we are using elemental flasks. It's easier for you to cap your resistances this way, because these flasks are gonna be up on you constantly, and you don't need to think about those resistances as much. Less damage taking is very powerful as well. And we do have here Progenesis, which is a very, very expensive one. It gives you Chaos Res, but the main powerful thing here is when hit during effect, 25% of life loss from damage taking occurs over 4 seconds instead. And we do have many different modifiers for our damage taking over time being either mitigated or recovered or decreased in some ways. So this is a very powerful one. It gives you both Chaos Res and this very, very powerful modifier, which, yeah, basically all the hits that are gonna hit you are gonna be very small, and after that there's gonna be this portion of damage over time that your recovery is gonna take care of. That's why this build is so tanky. Otherwise, Ruby Flask with, yeah, you can get any good modifiers here. Life regeneration is gonna be constant. Reduced mana cost of skills is gonna be constant, because all these flasks are gonna be on us permanently. Yeah, and this is it. This is it. Because our flask generation is higher than our flask consume rate. Yes, and I guess this is it. We didn't really missed any part of the build. Yeah, this is very powerful build in my opinion. It is a pretty reliable one. It is fun one. It's not as it is quite an unusual in how it works when you applying curses, then blasting those curses by reapplying other one and going over your cap limit. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. If you want more content like this, then definitely subscribe to the channel. I mean, have a good day. Bye.